Hey folks, how's it going? So, it's been a little bit since I've talked to you all, and I've been thinking about how the new Joe Biden presidential administration wants to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, and personally, as a libertarian, I don't think there should be a minimum wage, and I can explain that later. But even if there has to be a minimum wage, I don't think the federal government should be involved in that, because there's 50 states, and in those 50 states there's several cities and towns and just all these smaller entities that what might work for $15 an hour in like a place that has more revenue, like a larger city, isn't going to work in like a small town, and that's one problem, because all right, you have these small towns that you want to open up a business of whatever business you want to open up, a restaurant or something, right? Well, your wait staff is tips, so I don't know exactly how that works, so forgive me for that. But like your cooks and everything else, everybody else that has to be paid at a minimum wage, well, those people are going to get reduced. Or even if you want to have your own like little burger shack, even then the ability for you to keep full-time employees, or even give them good amount of hours, or even have the amount of employees that you want to have, is going to greatly be reduced. I like how, like, for instance, here in New Mexico, I don't know, I think it's about $8 an hour is the minimum wage, but depending on where you live, it's a little bit higher or lower. It's been years since I looked at this, because I haven't really had to do minimum wage work in a little while, because I learned trades, hence why I'm in this big ass vehicle right now. But anyway, I remember at one point where minimum wage, I think in Cruces it was like right at where it was supposed to be, or like 50 cents more. So we'll say, I think at the time when I looked at it, it was like $8 in Las Cruces, but it was $12 in Santa Fe, because in Santa Fe, there's more money, so it's easier to pay those higher wages. So if there has to be a minimum wage, it'd be nice if it was more based on the state, and the state, does their calculations to figure out what would be the best for every individual state, and then from there, that's the guideline for every city and town to be able to figure out where they can go. The minimum wage being obviously the baseline, and then they can choose whatever wage they think is appropriate. Now, the other problem with jumping up $15 an hour is the fact that mom and pop shops are basically, they're not going to be able to compete. They're not going to be able to. You're going to have a bunch of shops that only have like one employee, which is the owner, or like them and their family, struggling to work and not being able to provide a very good service, depending on the thing, on the business itself, to the point where, where would they like to be able to hire an employee, they won't be able to at that point. And the only people that are going to benefit from the raising of minimum wage is going to be the mega corporations. And all these things are always going to help mega corporations, because they're the ones that can afford it, and they don't care. That's why you don't hear like Walmart and Amazon and Target and all these bigger companies being like, oh no, we can't do that. Yeah, we're gonna. No, they can totally eat that, because at the end of the day, they're gonna crush all the smaller companies. Like for instance, Walmart is doing groceries, been doing groceries for years, and they probably love the opportunity to finally be able to stomp out all their competition, and even other corporations that aren't as big, like maybe an Albertsons, or whatever, is like IGA or whatever your local companies are, And it's just in a consolidation of power to the upper echelons, because you're destroying smaller businesses and you're going to destroy mom and pop shops. And I mean, we've all probably been in a McDonald's lately, and we've all seen the nice kiosks there to order. That's what happens when the minimum wage starts going up, and people start deciding that that's the course they want to go with. And you can't stop them. You can't. I mean, what are you gonna legislate them to have employees, to do these positions? Then the business will just fail anyway, And you gotta also keep in mind that McDonald's is a franchise, so that's owned by somebody, not like just the big gigantic McDonald's corporation. But that's a totally different bag. And finally, my issue with raising the minimum wage so incredibly high, like at such a quick pace, is the fact that it's going to make inflation crazy too, because everything's going up, the price of things are going to go up, There's not going to be any more dollar menus, not that anybody cares about that, I'm sure, but, all that stuff, is you're going to see it, and what you, go in and get a hamburger for like $3 is going to be $10 all of a sudden, You're going to go to the store to get yourself a gallon of milk and stuff, and I mean, milk's already kind of gone up quite a bit from what I remember, because I bought a half gallon at about almost $4. That thing, with this increase in minimum wage, it's going to go up to like $8 or 10, for a half gallon, and that's just how it's going to be. The other thing is, something we've already seen, is that even if it's a federal minimum wage, it doesn't affect the rest of the world. There's still places like China, which don't pay their people anything. It's like a quarter a day or something like that. For their work, and it's cheaper to pay them, so it's cheaper to move a company overseas. And I know everybody really hates the big bad orange bad guy, but one of the good things I saw him do when he was president was tell the car companies that if you move your company out to Mexico, because that's what Ford was going to do, I'm going to put a tariff on your products that's so high that nobody will be able to afford them. Nobody's going to want to buy. Nobody's going to want to pay $50,000 for a $30,000 car when they, if I'm going to pay $50,000 for this car, I'm going to get a nicer car, So that was that's how it works, But if you raise the minimum wage, companies that can afford to push things overseas will, definitely move things overseas. It's going to happen. It's happened in the past. We've seen this. We see this time and time again, So, me being the libertarian type that I am, I feel that there shouldn't be a minimum wage, and the fact that, then you can negotiate what you think you should be paid, And I know, a lot of times, the instant criticism of that idea is that, oh, well, if there was no minimum wage, then you wouldn't get paid anything for your work. And that's not true, because if you go somewhere that's yeah, I'll give you $10 an hour, you're yeah, I'm not going to take that job, and you're going to go find something else, because companies are still going to need people, and if they can bring back manufacturing here and have controls here, you're more likely to get into something that you really want to do, and you can focus and try and make a career, And I mean, I do understand the idea of wanting to live living wage and stuff like that. At the same time, you have to have a little bit of ambition in your life. You can't just expect to work at McDonald's or Walmart for your whole entire life. Those are beginning jobs while you build your skills to get better jobs and stuff, for instance, myself, I was kind of on a dead-end road when I was a kid, because I didn't really care about anything, and I didn't want to go to school and all that stuff, So I got into my you know, entry-level job, which was the military. I mean, I was a janitor a lot of times before that, but it was like also just entry-level. But, you know, it's taking steps to boost myself up into my next level of whatever I want to do, you know. And yeah, a lot of times I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going to go, you know, and it took a lot of work to get to the point where I'm at right now, which I'm living comfortably now, finally. First time in a very long time, you know. But, you know, you have to have your own self-respect, your own self-worth to know, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be a burger flipper the whole rest of my life. I'm not going to sit there at a McDonald's flipping burgers, you know, and just expect to make $15 an hour and everything's going to stay exactly the same, and like prices are going to go up because everything's going to go up. Rent's going to go up. Price of materials is going to go up. Everything goes up when the minimum wage goes up because that's inflation. That's how it works, you know. So obviously I don't have all the answers, you know. These are just my thoughts, and you guys are free to criticize me on it or whatnot, you know. Tell me your thoughts about it, you know. Maybe tell me where I'm wrong and I can see your point of view and try to, you know, just maybe you'll change my mind because like I said, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but this is just the way I see things. This is how I understand things to work, you know, and this is things that are observable and have actually happened in the past. So anyway, thanks for watching my video, and I'll catch you guys later. Y'all have a great day. Bye.